So you've heard her before, you've seen her face before. She is a WITI Hall of Fame inductee from last year, huge proponent of social media in the global enterprise, and a best-selling author of the book Get Bold, right here. She's the IBM Vice President of Social Business Evangelism, Sandy Carter.
Okay, so here's the challenge, guys. I actually got locked up this morning for a little emergency meeting. So I was watching the Twitter streams, and I retweeted a couple of people here. And when I did that, I had a couple of my male colleagues say, wow, the WITI Twitter stream is kind of dead this year. Do you guys not have anything to write about? Is it not very good? So I want to challenge you guys right now, just as Amanda did, make sure that you are tweeting. I love for you to tweet while I'm talking. So I have no problem with it. In fact, if you're not tweeting, I'm going to call on you to come up here and help me out. Okay, so let me tell you what we're going to do. A very action-oriented session. We're going to take 30 minutes to go through a trend that I think each of you needs to jump right on top of, and that is the trend of social. If we look at past history in IT, you can learn so much from history. If you look at the trends that have really impacted business, you could start back with the mainframe. You could look at departmental, that kind of decentralized work. You could look at PCs that allowed us to bring work home, yay. And then there's the internet. Now, I'm old enough to remember the beginning of the internet. I don't know, many of you guys are really young, so you probably don't remember it. But I remember making calls on companies and having the C-suite say to me, the internet is just for kids. It will never be used for business. In fact, I still have a letter from the CIO of a very large bank who said to me, Sandy, there will never be such a thing as online banking. And if it does come to pass, I will give you 1 year of my salary. I never got to collect on that. But if you think about the internet, it created all these new jobs. It created excitement. It changed the playing field. And we right now are in the midst of another transformation that will even be bigger than the internet, and that is social. But if you think about social today, there are still people in the C-suite who say, that's not for business. That's what my kids do. That's what university students do. It's not going to impact business. But in reality, McKinsey tells us that there will be 5 times as many jobs created from social than there were from the internet. 5 times. $200 billion market. And I was talking to Bloomberg today in an interview, and I told them that women in social, because it's about people and technology, have a competitive advantage. So my question is, what are we waiting for? So I want to go through 2 quick sections here, and I want to challenge each of you from this conference, from this talk, to get started in some way, personally and professionally. 4 tools I want you to check out. I saw earlier many of you are on these tools, but I'm going to go through them and show you how to use them for business. So we're going to talk about LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Foursquare, and then I'm going to give you some advanced tools I want you to start looking at as well. So I know Liz Albert and Amy Lipton will all be excited about the advanced because they're super Twitter goddesses already. So LinkedIn. I know you guys probably use this personally. LinkedIn is simply a social tool that allows you to collect your Rolodex online and even do more because you can ask questions, you can search for experts. And did you know that if you have 25 contacts on LinkedIn, you are 50% more likely to be recruited by a headhunter than if you don't? Now, how could you use Twitter for business? Let me give you an example. This is IBM in India. We are starting to sell our products to non-CIOs, to chief financial officers. We didn't have permission to talk to them because, we're a technology company. So one of my sales reps in India started a LinkedIn group for CFOs. Now, he's not a CFO, he's a seller. So he got our IBM CFO of India to join the group. So now he had 2. He knew some friends. They're very social in India. So he had these friends. So he invited 4 more people that he knew, and that was it. He had 6 CFOs in the group. So he started sharing information in the group, like our IBM CFO study and other really interesting pieces of information. Not selling in the group, but just slowly building up expertise and relationships. This group started in January, and it's now October. This is the largest CFO group in India. And this particular sales rep in June was at 352% of his quota, coming in through this business use of LinkedIn. So let's do another one. Twitter, one of my very favorite tools. I hope all of you are on Twitter today. If you're not, you need to be, because this is microblogging at its best. It's short text, 140 characters. That's all you get. Kind of hard for me sometimes, so I link you to my blog. You can follow other people, so you can see what they're writing, and they can follow you back. So you're going to get updates on those that you follow. You can even have a hashtag like WITI Summit and follow all the news, and that's how people are following the news. I bet that's even why some of you guys are here today. Because last year there was such a stream, people were like, oh, it's so much energy, I want to be there. So how do you use it for business? So let me show you an example. This is my dry cleaner. And his name is Jerry. He is very popular now. In fact, he is now the dry cleaner of the stars. He has a small business, because he's a dry cleaner. And what he decided to do was to start a Twitter channel. From that Twitter channel, what he did was not talk about his business, but he talked about how you get stains out. So he set up himself as a subject matter expert, or an SME. From doing that, you could go to the site. You know, I spilled red wine on my coat. I could find out from Jerry, what do I do about that? We helped him target people in the county that he was in, because he's a local small business, so he doesn't want people from India or Hong Kong. He's looking at his local area. He has now grown his business double digits from this Twitter channel, and we can track it because every once in a while he will send out a tweet that says you get 10% off your next dry cleaning. So when they come in, they have to give him that code so he knows exactly how many new clients he's getting from Twitter. Double-digit growth using Twitter in his business. Now, how many of you guys use TweetDeck or something to sort your tweets? Okay, if you don't, this to me makes it very manageable. I can search, like here I'm searching on IBM Partners. I can search on IBM, I can search on my name, and I can see everything that's being said about me. It helps me to organize and kind of set up my own little dashboard. I can do that for my business, and I can do that for me personally. So make sure you check that out as well. So Facebook, I'm betting everybody here is on Facebook. Raise your hand if you're not on Facebook. Okay. Couple, wow. Come talk to me afterwards. I want to know how you survive. So Facebook is quite fun. Interesting thing is more women use Facebook than men. 70% of local businesses now use Facebook in marketing, 70%. So let's look at an example. I'm giving you a lot of small businesses because I've got a couple of large companies coming up. This is my hair salon. And you can tell how I'm passionate about this because I talk about it to everybody I can find. This is Richard Scott. He is a hair salon in Westchester County, New York. He was doing all of his marketing through advertising. So when I was talking to him one day about social business and what he could do, I started watching him operate. And he was a great relationship guy. He shared expertise. He shared in people's personal successes. And if they had an issue, he tried to help them and solve that. So what we did was we set him up on Facebook to start sharing that same relationship that he did in person in Facebook. And now he does all of his marketing basically through Facebook and Foursquare. In fact, he had one service that for him was the most profitable service, and he was only doing 6 of those services a month. We set up a little kind of promotion, his subject matter expert on the Facebook page, he's now doing 30 of those most profitable services through Facebook. He hasn't done an ad in 1.5 years. And most recently, P&G has approached him and has invested in his business because he is the most successful and fastest growing salon in Westchester County, using Facebook for his marketing. Foursquare. How many of you guys use Foursquare? I love Foursquare. So you can use it on your phone. It's got GPS in it, so it knows where you are. You check in to say, I'm here at the San Francisco airport, I'm here at WITI, and guess what? For us multitaskers, when you check in, you can do the same message for Facebook and Twitter, so you get 3 for 1. There are over 10 million people right now, and over 1 billion check-ins around the world. And right now, about 500,000 businesses have started to use Foursquare. So let me show you an example of how you could use this for business. How many of you guys go to Starbucks? So Starbucks now, if you check in with Foursquare on your phone, there is a mayor of your Starbucks. That's the person who's checked in there the most. And when they become the mayor, they can do special offers working with the store. So you should check this out, because here, this is a Starbucks that I went to, and you get $1 off of your next Frappuccino. That helps, obviously, to drive customers when they're in that location to come into the Starbucks to get a discount and to drive, hopefully, more business. So very quickly, what you've seen, hopefully, is the use of social media in business situations for small businesses that you can take today and use it to leverage in what you're doing. Very easy. Social media is just like you're being in a cocktail party. You're going to listen to what's being said, and then you're going to respond to the comments, because you're not just going to push information out there. You want to listen and hear what's happening as well. So now let's go over a couple of more advanced topics. So let me just pause for a couple of minutes and see if there's any questions about Foursquare, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. Questions? Yes? I do not. I wish I did. So the question was, do I get my hair done for free? No, but I should. I definitely should, and I should get free dry cleaning, that's for sure. Yes, ma'am?
I'm hearing a lot from some of my friends who've been on Facebook for many years, seems like, and they have lots and lots of friends, and they're just tired of all the changes in Facebook and the different privacy settings, and they've been very private, and now nobody can hear what they say because they're so private, and they've stopped going to Facebook. What do you suggest?
We're seeing that trend overall. In fact, there was a recent study that was published that said that actually Facebook users are going down right now for 2 main reasons. One is some of the changes in privacy, and the second is that all the kids who were on Facebook now know their grandmother and their mom are on, so they're going back to MySpace. So if you look at MySpace, the numbers are going back up on MySpace. And in fact, who was the guy that was in The Social Network? Justin Timberlake just invested in MySpace. Yeah, he just invested in MySpace. So, the suggestions I would do is just to show them use cases, but there's so many tools out there today. I mean, I use Facebook mostly for personal and some of my clients, but mostly I use LinkedIn because I'm a B2B business, not B2C. Any other quick questions? Yes, ma'am.
What are your thoughts on Google Plus?
I love Google Plus. I think Google Plus is great. Here's what I think, though. I think we've got so many tools now that I think the next thing will be some sort of aggregation. Like Foursquare now, where if you check in, you're posting also to Twitter and you're posting also to Facebook, or you can if you want to. I think that's going to be the next big aha. So I love Google Plus. To me, it's another tool in my tool chest. I just didn't have a business to use, otherwise I would have used it up here right now. But I think the next big thing in that is going to be aggregation. I think there's just too many things to consume all at one time. So if you're in the room and you're thinking about your next big business venture, that to me would be a great thing. Okay, I'm going to stop questions here. I'm going to go to the advance, and then we'll do more questions as we move forward. Let me tell you one more story. I was flying to, I'll tell it in a minute. Let me go on. I'll tell it in a minute. So we've got a couple of advanced topics I want to go through here. Gaming, and we talked about gaming just a few minutes ago. Mobile, analytics, and tippers. So once you master those four, and I know there's many women in here who've done that, let me tell you what I think the next four big trends are that have already started. So the one is gaming. How many of you in here are gamers? Go ahead, you can raise your hand. I am a gamer. Yeah, okay. Did you know that the average age of a gamer today is actually 35 years old? So it's not your son or your daughter. It's actually probably you guys in this audience who are afraid to raise your hand. This report shows that gender 58% are men and 42% are female. That's worldwide. In the U.S., 51% are women. 51% are women. So if you think about gaming, what is so cool about gaming, and why do I think it will be one of the trends that you guys need to look at? Well, gaming gives you 80% higher recall on concepts than does a video and audio. Many Fortune 500 companies are using it to onboard their employees, to educate, to get complex messages across because of the way that it helps you retain, because you're actually doing it. You're not a spectator, you're a participant. So you're working on learning different concepts. So I think gaming is a huge area, and if you went to South by Southwest, which is a huge social media conference, you will know that one of the major trends that they saw was gaming. And Gartner just added gaming to the social hype cycle, meaning that they expect it to here accelerate in its path over the next couple of years. Now, let me give you a couple of examples of gaming. I'll give you one from IBM. We have a game called Innovate. Innovate started out being a game for education. It's in thousands of universities. It's the way we educate on complex technology. And now we use it for demand generation. So in one particular division of IBM, what you do is you can go to the website, you can play the game, you learn concepts. There's a hero, there's a villain, you score yourself. And in order to post your score to Facebook or MySpace, you have to give your registration information. And people are so competitive. You know, in a typical marketing campaign, you're not going to give that information very freely. But because you, by God, are going to post your score, people freely give me that information. It is now the #1 demand gen tactic in this division of IBM. #1. So think about the money IBM spends on events, on advertising. It's the #1 demand gen tactic. And we're not the only ones. Farmers Insurance just linked up with Farmville, a game on Facebook. And they're now using that. They give you a blimp. You can get a blimp in Farmville to protect your crops. And they're using that click on the farmer's blimp to attract women who mostly play Farmville and are attracting a new customer set using gaming. RIM, if you have a BlackBerry device, they use gaming inside to do their training classes. So gaming, I think, and I forgot the name of the person who was doing the session right before me. Oh, it's Linda. How could I forget? Lynda.com. I think gaming is going to transform the way we do education in the future. I think using gaming techniques will transform the way we learn as well, leveraging these tools. How many of you guys use Groupon? That's all gaming strategy, right? You're competing against a clock. You've got a set of participants with you. Those are people who are hopefully getting the discount with you. All gaming strategy and gaming technique to be successful. Second big area is mobile. Who does not have a mobile device? Oh, that same lady who didn't have Facebook. No, just teasing. So mobile is everywhere. I just came back from Asia, and when I was in Asia, the mobile device is used basically when you walk down the street. On my mobile device, I could walk by a store and coupons would pop up on my iPhone as I'm walking down the store. Come in right now, next 30 minutes you get 20% off. It's hard to do business because you want to walk in the store. Mobile devices are more popular right now than PCs. So any kind of strategy you have on social needs to also include mobile. 86% of check-ins for social networking sites occur on a mobile device. And I don't know if you saw Forbes.com, but ladies, before we go to the restroom in the morning, the first thing we do is we check our mobile phone. It's true. We check that mobile device. So how can you use mobile to drive a business? This is an example of a government use. What you do is you take your iPhone or your Android or your whatever smartphone you have, and in Westchester County, they wanted to engage their citizens to come and participate in cleaning up the waterway, as they had gotten budget cuts. So what they did with the mobile device is to create communities who cared about the waterways. Take that iPhone, take a picture of the waterway, you enter in 3 pieces of data. How quickly does the stream flow? What's the trash level? What's the water level? And you send it on, and it gets routed to a central location that then takes that information and does the appropriate things with the waterway. Engaging in a social community way citizens to help out in this particular way. If you think about Beijing for the Olympics, they had cellular phones. They engaged citizens to take pictures of potholes in the road, broken down lights. They take pictures, route it to the right situation, and were able to make changes. Yes, Amanda?
There's an application for that called citysourced.com. It's a mobile civic engagement tool.
So citysource.com, there's a mobile tool. Great. And there's tons of mobile applications out there too. So social needs to be done. Make sure that you're enabling on a mobile device. Great, thank you. So analyze your data. It's the next kind of more sophisticated trend. And here's where I'll tell my next story. I was flying to Toronto, stuck on the tarmac in LaGuardia. If you haven't guessed it, I'm living right now in New York. This is a New York accent that you're hearing. It's actually Texas. I'm actually a Texas stuck in New York. But I was stuck on the tarmac. And while I was sitting there for 4 hours, I happened to be there with 7 CEOs, all men. So one of them made the mistake of turning to me and said, "So what do you do?" So I took out my iPad and I said, "I do social business." And I started showing him everything that I was doing. And he's like, "Okay, slow down on your passion just a second." And he said, "My board and I voted to opt out of social." I thought this was really funny because you can't opt out of social, right? How can you tell people we've opted out of social, so don't tweet about me, no blogs, no YouTube, no Flickr pictures, we're opting out. So I pulled up a social analytics dashboard and I showed him all the places people were talking about his company and him. And he got really upset. He said, "Hold on for a second." He called his marketing VP. "Did you know, blah, blah, blah?" And I said, "Well, the thing is you can't opt out. You can't opt out. You have to participate. And what you have to do is look at where conversations are happening about you and engage in those." So that's what analytics is about. Let me give you another company, a larger company, Royal Bank of Canada. And what they were doing is they had a challenge with their customer service process. So the way that they respond to you and I if we lived in Canada in their marketplace. And what they wanted to do is when you called or when they place a call to you, they wanted to know more information about you to better serve you. So using analytics, they went and mined Facebook information and other social networks to find out, are you going to have a baby? Are you moving? Are you going to college? So that when you called their bank or when they called you, they had that information to better serve you. Interested in a 529K? We've got a bank right down the road for where you're moving, to better service their clients. What did this do for them? They were number 5 in the marketplace, meaning number 5 in customer sat. They're now number 1. Number 1. So I know people of my generation are like, "Oh, I don't want them using that data for me." But the younger generation, millennials, and even myself, a digital immigrant, love the fact that they're using that data to better serve me. Not in a negative way, but in a positive way. So social analytics, I think, is going to be one of the next big ones as well. Last one I wanted to talk about, tippers. So what are tippers? If you look outside of the world, if you look at people that are talking about your company, your product, your brand, essentially there are about 5% of those people, anywhere between 5 and 15, depending upon the study, that impact and influence everybody else. Impact and influence everybody else. They are the opinion leaders, the thought leaders. There are about 75% of people who are called casual participants. So they'll comment once in a while. They're out there, but they're not really active and they're not engaged. And then there are about 20% who we call lurkers. They're out there, they're reading material, understanding it, but they never comment, so you never really know that they're there. The value here is if you can figure out your tippers for your company or your product, and you can form a relationship with them, not manipulate them, but form a relationship with them, that means that you can reach all the other people that you're trying to reach by influencing the 5%. So I was with a very large bank, I won't tell you their name, and we found out that one of their number one tippers, one of their number one influencers, who was influencing all their other investors, happens to be a 20-year-old college student. If you go to his website, you'd never know he was a college student. But doing this work, we figured out that this college student, was influencing a lot of people on investment. So we were able to bring him in to show him this financial institution's offerings, not to pay him, not to manipulate him, but to say, here's what we got, give us your feedback, give us your input. And then he went and blogged about some of these great offerings, which caused a 15% bump in this particular financial institution's investments. So, the challenge I give to you is, do you know who your tippers are? Now, this is an interesting one. This is from one of my partners, and they did some work on the Egyptian crisis. So if you look at this chart, there's several people who were blogging about the Egyptian crisis, if you guys remember the revolt that was happening in Egypt. Justin Bieber actually jumped into the equation. You guys know who Justin Bieber is? He's all over my house, by the way. I have a 13-year-old daughter. He has 7.4 million followers on Twitter. As he jumped in, though, to talk about Egypt, some people were trying to influence him, but he actually wasn't a tipper. He actually didn't really generate that many people following him on Egypt because he's not very much of an opinion leader or a thought leader on that. However, there were a couple other people who had fewer followers, but their impact, the people that they touched, were other tippers who touched other tippers who touched other tippers. And so if you knew that ahead of time, you could directly target those people and get them, hopefully, to understand your perspective, your point of view, and write or communicate on that particular subject. So there's a whole bunch of ways that you can figure this out for your company. This is an airline scorecard. This is using Clout, K-L-O-U-T. You should look up your company's Clout score. Look up your own Clout score. Pretty much the same across the board. Although you see that Southwest have the highest Clout score, Clout is measuring your influence. How many people do you influence and what do you do? So this is a branding influence scale, and this is my scale, so you can do it for yourself personally. Now, some companies are going to start paying for your social influence. So you might as well start building that up now. In fact, we know that Google pays on your social expertise. Some folks in IBM have metrics in their performance appraisal that's based on your social influence. And in fact, the projection is in 5 years that a lot of your salary will be based on your own personal digital dashboard. So you might as well start now looking at your own analytics and that of your company to make sure that you have targeted your customers, that you're listening to your customers, and that you're responding to those customers as you move forward. So what I just tried to walk you through, and I know I'm almost out of time, is to look at some very simple tools and how you use them in business, and then to look at some more sophisticated tools and see how you could take those to the next level to really drive social embedded into your business. One of the things that we do at IBM is we talk a lot about a social business. So a social business is a business who takes all these tools and techniques, whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, a community, and leverages it in a particular business process, like the Royal Bank of Canada discussion that we have. This is something we call our social business agenda. It's the way we walk customers through how to become a social business, how to decide what to start, how to find those tippers and earn their trust, and how to leverage analytics inside of your business. So I'm hoping that you guys took some things away, but one of the main things I want you to take away is that as a social business, Even though social is so fun, this has an impact on the bottom line. So this is a McKinsey study, and what it shows is that if you add social inside your business, like the Richard Scott Salon or Jerry's Dry Cleaners or Royal Bank of Canada, on average, if you add it to customer service, you can see an 18% increase in your customer loyalty rate. If you do it to generate new products, 20% greater time to market and value for those products. And if you add it to your HR area, a 15% reduction in cost. So those are all compelling reasons for you guys to go back and really initiate, be a change agent in your company for leveraging these tools for social. And can I just take one more or two more questions on this section, and then we'll close this out. Any questions on the more sophisticated tools or on the agenda? Okay, so ladies, I think that this is a competitive advantage for us. I think that women overall have that collaborative nature, that social buy. So this trend, I think, is our trend. For the internet, you could really bully your way in. You could pay a lot of money. You could have a lot of technical prowess, and you could win. But in social, it's about relationships. It's about collaboration. It's about getting people to come together and engage. And who better than us to apply our talent to this next trend? Thank you guys very much for your time today.